Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talking Housewives with Dee. I'm Dee, and today we are talking about the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, Season 1, Episode 2. And you guys, it's so good. It is so good. So good. We are talking about affairs and swinging and all that, and Beverly Hills could never. Okay, we're still stuck on Dorit being late, even though she's been late for a decade. Speaking of Beverly Hills, I have not got a chance to watch it yet. I've only watched clips. I watched Beverly Hills with my grandma, and we have not had some time to get together and watch it. So I watched Rhode Island on my own, but I watched Beverly Hills in Orange County, Potomac with her. So I got to figure out a time that works best for both of us. So I haven't had the time to do that, but yeah, we're talking about Rhode Island. So this was a great episode. We had 2 episodes in 1 week. I don't even know what day it comes on. I'm not sure if it's Thursdays or Sundays, but it came on Thursday and Sunday. So yeah, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So we are at Liz and Jerry's in-laws house. So this is Liz's in-laws, Jerry's parents. They are having their daughter Brianna over with her boyfriend Zach, and Zach's family's coming over because Brianna and Zach are expecting the baby after knowing each other for 2 months. So that's exciting. Liz said she feels like Jerry's daughters are hers, and she's raised them since they've been little, and they raised them together because they thought it was appropriate for the kids to be with Liz and Jerry than their biological mother. I'm sure there's a story behind that. Will we find out? I don't know. It's probably a little bit too personal. I don't know. But I mean, they talk about everything else on the show, so they'll probably talk about this. So Liz says that she's always wanted kids of her own, and she never thought that it would happen this way. But Jerry's kids, they fulfill that need for her. Now we go over to Ashley and Joellen. They're at the park with their kids. Their kids are around the same age. Ashley says in the confessional that she was really surprised by how nice and warm Joellen was towards her. So Ashley tells Joellen that she had fun at her 4th of July party and Jared had a great time too. And Joellen says that she was afraid that she didn't make the best first impression with Ashley because of what happened at the picnic with Rosie. Remember? She told Rosie to shut the fuck up and that whole thing and that, whatever. So Joellen says that she told Kelsey what was said at the picnic and that she is just going to simply exist around Rosie. And Ashley tells her, well, maybe you guys can just do a fresh start, which is what they said at the picnic, right? They agreed to do a fresh start. So Joellen says, like, yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. So now this is where it gets good, you guys. Ashley and Joellen, they're pushing their kids in the swing, and then Joellen asks Ashley, how's everything going with Jared and work? And Ashley says that Jared is really stressed with work and that she has become a bar widow, which is basically her husband is gone all the time and she's just at home. She says when he comes home, he's always stressed out and he constantly feels like he's failing. And they have good days, but they are very far and few between. So Ashley starts getting emotional. And she says that it's always, he's not happy, he's not happy, he's not happy. And Jared always tells her that, listen, it's not you and it's not the kids. He just doesn't feel like he's good enough because he's not bringing enough to the table. And in a confessional, Ashley says that he says that it's not her, but it's hard to not blame herself because she's always trying to make him happy. And then she says that she wants him to go have his moments where he can go with his friends and do his hobbies and do his own thing. But when he's gone, that means that she has to be alone with the kids for 4 or 5 hours, And as she's saying all this, like her kids are like, Mom, Mom, Mom. You can just tell just how overwhelmed she is. Like she's explaining this, crying. Kids are like, Mom, Mom, Mom. And I'm just like, oh God. Like, I don't have any kids of my own, and I do want kids someday in the future, but that day is kind of getting a little bit closer and closer because I am getting older and older. But I do want kids, but my patience is so thin. There's very little of it, so I need patience. And just seeing how overwhelmed moms are in general, I'm just like, I feel so bad. Like I really do. That's a tough job. Being a parent is such a tough and stressful job, and doing it alone or while your husband, wife, whatever is working and you're staying at home with the kids, like that is a lot. So, although I don't have kids, I feel for Ashley. So, in a confessional, Joellen says that she thinks that Ashley tries to portray this perfect Instagram life with the husband and the kids, um, but it's not like that. But she's a mom and she understands Ashley's frustration. Then Ashley says that she has a nanny for 33 hours a week and that she should be able to handle it. But then Joellen's like, listen, you need some time for yourself too. Now I did the math and 33 hours a week, um, it depends on what you're dividing it by. Like you're dividing it by 7 days, 5 days, whatever. To me, that's still not enough. Like I need a full-time nanny if I'm gonna have kids. Like I need help. Luckily, I have such a supportive family, but I would need some extra help. So the fact that Ashley has a nanny and she feels like it's still not enough. Like, girl, like I said, don't have kids, don't have a nanny, but I get it. I get it. So now we have Liz and Kelsey, and they're walking into a restaurant, and they start talking about this housewife, our new housewife. Her name is Rula. So Liz says that she has known Rula for a decade, and they met in the boating community. And then she says they share the same heritage. They're both half Syrian. So Rula comes in. She's got big hair, a tan, a Chanel belt buckle, Chanel bag. She looks like a housewife. Kelsey says that she has known Rula through Liz, and Rula has always been classy, put together, and very calm. So Rilla sits down and she asked them, what they did for 4th of July. And they say that they went to Joellen's party. And it was really nice. You can see that Rula is very unsettled by this information. And she's like, what is it about Joellen that makes you guys want to hang out with her? So in a confessional, Joellen says that, Rula says that her and Joellen have had their ups and downs, and they're both in the same industry. And Rula and her husband know a lot of the people in the industry. And she says that Joellen comes across as very friendly, but that is not always the case. Rula tells the girls that, listen, you guys said that she was a shit stirrer, and she's talking about me and my husband, stirring up rumors, and talking about them getting a divorce and her husband leaving her. And then she calls the woman that her husband is supposedly leaving her for or cheating her with a slut. And she's like she's very the slut is very pointed too. And I just have to say, like, listen, yeah, the woman is in the wrong, but your husband is also in the wrong. And as far as I'm concerned, they're both hoes. Sluts, hoes, whatever you want to call them. Like, let's not have all the smoke for the woman. Like, yeah, they're wrong, but like your husband's a slut too, okay? He is. So Liz tells her, like, look, I'm always going to have your back, but I know you, and I know that you're never going to admit when something's fucked up. In a confessional, Liz says that Rula and her husband look like the perfect couple, but there has been whispers that her husband has a mistress. Kelsey asks Rula if she's open to talking about it, and Rula's like, yeah, Liz called me, and I could tell she was uncomfortable. And she said that she saw that there was photos posted online, and Liz says that she put Rula in touch with the person who sent it to her. So the person who had the photos was Joellen. And Rula thought Joellen was just trying to be supportive by, sharing these photos with her. But turns out she was sending the photos to everyone in the group. So Kelsey tells Rilla, like, look, the picture that I saw, the woman had on the summer outfit, but the pictures were posted in winter, so this must have been going on for a while. And Rilla's like, yeah, it was last summer. And Liz says, well, what about now? And Rilla's like, nothing's going on. It's not ongoing, it's over. And then Rilla says, look, there's been a lot of talk about my husband being involved. And then Liz whispers, but he is. He's there. she's like, this is great. This is so great. So Liz tells her that she needs to stop with the whole pride thing and like, look, they've all been through stuff. And Rilla's like, yes, I know you've been through it and you've shared that with me. And she's like, you've been through stuff with Jerry and you didn't kick him to the curb. You took time to process it. And in the confessional, Rilla's like, Jerry has done his thing and Liz has done her thing. What? Okay, I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I took notes and I think I skipped over this part. But in a confessional, Liz says that basically everyone knows that Rula's husband is seeing another woman, and if Rula chooses not to acknowledge it, then she can just go ahead and live in her land of delusion. So I'm not sure if I said that. But yeah. So Liz is like, look, I know there's a lot going on. You're not willing to say it because you have kids. And Rula's like, when you produce kids with someone, it's a game changer. And then Rilla says, Jerry has kids, you don't have your own. And then Liz gets activated, as she should. So Liz, in her confessional, says, just because I didn't produce a kid doesn't mean that these kids are not, like mine. Like, I don't know how to be a mother. Like, I helped raise these kids. She says all this in confessional. So Rilla says, no disrespect. And Liz was like, I took that as some disrespect. And then Rilla apologizes to her. And then she says that her and her husband are fine. And then they just kind of leave it at that. So now we're at Kelsey's house. And she mentions again that her boyfriend is gone for half the year in Miami. And that her housekeeper lives with her. So she has a live-in housekeeper. So Alicia comes over and they start talking about the picnic, and Alicia apologizes for being nosy and talking about Kelsey's relationship. They start talking about Rula's husband, and Alicia says that she hasn't talked to Rula about the cheating rumors or anything like that. And then Kelsey says that Rula is saying that everything is okay on their end. And Kelsey says that they should just all come together and talk and be honest about everything, since people are all just talking behind each other's back. Let's put it all out there on the table and just get it out there and talk about it. So now we're at Rula's house, and we kind of get more of a backstory towards her. So she lives in this gorgeous home, and she has lived in Rhode Island her whole life. She lives in a very nice neighborhood. And then she throws some shade at Joellen, and she says that she would never live where Joellen lives. She's a boat girl. She's the only female captain in Rhode Island, and she runs her own financial planning firm, and she has a reputation of being a boss bitch. So, we learn more about her husband, and she's been with him for 12 years, married for 9, and he's a podiatrist. He's a foot doctor. She sits down with her husband, and Rula says that everyone's been talking about them in the group, and she wished that they would just come to the source. And then her husband's like, what happened last year happened, and that's it. And I already do not like this man. I don't like him. By the way, she says that he's not even really her type. Her type is tall, dark, and handsome. He's pale, he's short, and she thinks he's handsome. If you hear a baby crying in the background, it's because I have family over, and yeah. See, this isn't about the whole like kid thing. Like I would need help. You know what I mean? Like I would need help. Okay, so yeah. So Rula tells us that she saw the cheating pictures. When she saw the cheating pictures, she confronted Brian. Brian is her husband, Forgot about that. His name. She confronted Brian. He broke down crying and begging and pleading, saying that it was done. It'll never happen again. And then in the confessional, producer asked Rula, was she able to forgive him? And she says that she's still working on it. So Brian says that the women are just jealous. And yeah, I don't like them. I don't like them. Because what do you mean? Jealous of what? Your ugly leather pants? Like, jealous of what? What are they jealous about? They're jealous because they don't have a cheating husband? That's what they're jealous of? Okay. All right, Brian. Men. God. Okay, so not Brian, the ladies are meeting up at Alicia's house and they're going to take a party bus to go to the winery. Their winery looks beautiful, and I've always wanted to go to a cool winery. The only winery I went to was the Malibu Safari Winery, obviously up in Malibu. But that got shut down, and then I think it got burnt down by like the Palisade fires. Um, yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, that was a really nice wine tasting. It was really cool. I got to do it with my friends. It was just like something that we really wanted to experience. There's a lot of like fancy wines, some that I did not like, but the whole experience was just such a good time, so much fun. All right. Anyways, so they do the tour of the wine, and then Kelsey says that she loves cheap wine. Same. And then Joellen says that she loves expensive wine. And the girls are just going through the vineyard, and it seems like they're having a really good time. So now it's time to grab some lunch. And while the ladies are going to the table, Kelsey pulls Joellen aside, and she says that Rula's coming. Joellen's disgusted. Okay. She's like, what the fuck? And in the confessional, she says that she is getting the brunt of the wrath of all of this, with Rula and her husband because she shared a picture that the mistress posted. So Joellen tells Kelsey that she is not here to publicize that Rula has a husband. Rula's husband was having an affair. And Kelsey says that she's basically pretending that she doesn't even know about the affair. And Joellen's like, come on, I sent her the picture. So Kelsey was like, she's going to talk to you about it. And she's like, don't talk to me. Talk to your husband. He's the one who's stepping out. And she's over here calling my job. And then Kelsey's like, well, I didn't bring that part up. And then Joellen was like, well, that's a really big deal. So Joellen says that Rula and her husband was calling her a job and HR trying to get her fired, all because he was having an affair. Can you believe that? So Kelsey and Joellen go back to the table, and Joellen's like, look, I'm not trying to be a mean person, but when someone is trying to hurt me and my job, it's a problem. And so Rula FaceTimes Kelsey, and she says that she's not going to be able to make it because she was in urgent care for like 2 hours, and like, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it. And while they're on this call, Joellen gets up and throws, like, there's these boxes with, like, the ladies' names on it. She ends up throwing Rula's in the bushes. So they're like, oh, she's not coming. And then they're like, no, but she was in full glam and everything. They're like, okay, yeah, she just didn't want to come. So Kelsey's like, let's play a game. And she gives everyone those little boxes, the one that Joellen just threw in the bush. These little boxes, and they should write down questions that they have for each other and put the question for the person in their box, and everything's going to be anonymous. But during the game, they end up like saying who said what. So Ashley goes first, and her question is, when did you lose your virginity? And Ashley says, on the verge of 30. And like everyone's like, oh my God. She said she was waiting for the right person at the right time. But like we all knew that from watching The Bachelor. And I just have to say, in my last video, I got the story of Ashley and Jared wrong. I knew something was missing. So Jared wasn't going after Kaylin. That was her name. It was, I think the girl, her name was Kayla. I think that was her. She had really pretty hair. And what happened was, remember those like winter games things when it had like other bachelor people from different countries and they like mixed them together? Okay, Ashley and the Canadian guy hooked up. And that's when Jared was like, oh, and apparently Jared went on like another show and it didn't work out for him. That's what I read on Reddit. That's what I read on Reddit. And that, yeah, he came back to Ashley because basically like she was the only one that would take him, and then he didn't want to see the one girl that was obsessed with him moved on. that's what that's what happened. But like, I don't know, just like watching Ashley talk about her and Jared's relationship, I maybe I'll soften up on Jared. I said in my last video, I think Ashley deserves better, but maybe I'll soften up on him. I don't know, maybe I'll understand their situation a little better. I don't know. But yeah. So sorry, Alicia gets a question, and it's, have you ever hooked up with Gary? And she says no. She said that her and Gary have been friends since they were like 3 years old, and nothing has never happened. Rosie's question is, has she ever hooked up with the coach? And she's like, no, I never even met him. Apparently, this was some old basketball coach that was having an affair with a news reporter. I don't know who the coach is, but I'm sure. I haven't looked at Reddit about this episode yet, but I'm sure I'll find out who it is. So yeah, she says that no, never happened. Joellen gets the question, are you a swinger? And she says no, but there's a big swinging community in Rhode Island. And then she says that she wished that Gary would let her swing. Kelsey's question is, are you dating? And she says that she's not a polygamist, and she looks over at Rosie. And she says she's never been one. And she says that she wants kids and she wants to get married. And the person that she's been with for 10 years doesn't want to give her that. But she has been dating someone. So Joellen says that everyone has these questions for Kelsey. And if you have questions, then just ask her. And then Liz is like, well, why did you bring it up to begin with? And Joellen's like, I didn't bring it up. And then they're like, yeah, her and Rosie are like, yeah, you did at the picnic. And then they show a flashback of like someone asking, how's Kelsey doing? And then Joellen says that, she's going through a lot. So yeah, in my last video, I did say that she was the one who brought it up. I thought that she said she was going through a lot of her relationship. So yeah. Apparently I misheard, just like just like Rosie and Liz misheard. So yeah, Liz says that Joellen opened the door to it all. And then Joellen says to Kelsey, like, if I did bring it up, I am a bazillion% sorry about that. So Liz's note says that, I love you, but is the news true? And Liz is like, what news? And Alicia's the one who wrote the note. And Alicia's like, the news that you may be having an affair. And Liz says, it's not true. And then Rosie says in her confessional that she's heard rumors about Liz and her best friend. So apparently there's this guy named Dino. And Liz tells us this. Liz says that her and her husband have a close friend named Dino. And he's like a little brother to her. And they have an unconventional friendship. She says, it wasn't right, but they didn't have an affair. They did not have an affair. So I'm not really sure what she's trying to say. If it was an unconventional friendship and they didn't have an affair, then what was it? Because an affair isn't just a physical thing, you know what I mean? You're just not like sleeping with someone. It's like emotional too. So I want to know what was so unconventional about this friendship and why it's rumors swirling, I just want to know. I want to know. And then in a confessional, Liz says that she's disappointed in Alicia because she brought the rumor up and she was basically co-signing it. And when she co-signs it, it makes it seem like it's true, and it's not. And then we kind of leave the episode off there, which is just fine. I mean, we got a lot in 44 minutes. This was a really good episode. And you guys know that it is time to rate it. So I'm going to rate the second episode of this season an 8. It was good. It was good, you guys. Like, we got introduced to the new housewife. She opened up about, what was going on with her husband immediately. Like, they brought it up the second she was on screen. Um, this was just really good. I love how open everyone's being. Like I said in my last video, Ashley's opening up about her marriage and her life with Jared. Everyone's opening up about their whole marriage, which is crazy. Like, they're addressing rumors and everything. Like, we do not really get that on these type of shows, and this is just incredible to me. So, that being said, I'm gonna hurry up and go because you guys could probably hear the baby crying in the background. I gotta go. But thank you guys so much for listening to me yap about this, and I will see you over in either Beverly Hills or back in Rhode Island. Bye.